All right, we're back on the record in the matter of the discrimination complaint of Ellen Kutz versus Lutheran Urban Mission Initiative Incorporated. We took a lunch break. We're in the respondent's case, and Attorney Yerk was asking questions of Ms. Brust. You may continue.
Absolutely. Before we get going, though, I want to, I guess, ask about the status of the document I had requested that it be provided during the lunch break, and I sent an email about it, and I still have not seen it.
Okay, I do apologize about that. I actually drove home, which took me basically the entire time of our break. I did ask our human resources manager to redact that and redact the other things other than what we're pertaining to. If you can give me a moment to check my email, I will send it on to Attorney Stuffle, and then I'm sure he'll send it right on to you. If I could have just like one more minute.
That would
Okay.
that would be fine. I guess for me, I can't make that call.
Go ahead, Ms. Brust.
Thank you very much. And I do apologize. It's just doing the best I could with. Yeah. Okay, so I closed out my email, but you should be getting it within a minute or two.
Okay. And so you're sending it to Attorney Stoffel, and then Attorney Stoffel, I assume you're going to look over it and then forward it on to Attorney Yerk.
Yeah, I'll just do a,
I can get started then while we're waiting.
Okay.
So can you turn to the document on page Lumen 62 of Complainants Exhibit 22? And I know this has been marked, and I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's Exhibit 15 for the record.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so it's not the one of the Kutz, it's a Lumen exhibit.
Complainants Exhibit 22.
Oh,
Bottom right hand corner, Lumen 62. C22, page Lumen 62.
oh, okay. What we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that is my first question is, so this is the document, the email we were referring to earlier, correct?
Yes.
And this is Ellen's response to your email that we just finished discussing. And if you scroll to the next page, you can confirm that, correct?
Yes.
Sorry, scroll on mine, you're flipping, but okay. So what was your understanding of Ellen's comment here that she was invoking it being FMLA now until all this paperwork can be settled?
So, again, the primary concern was whether she could or couldn't work. But in invoking the FMLA, there was no issue with her being off of work. It was just, was it intermittent FMLA? Was it partial FMLA? That kind of piece of, like, can she or can she not work? And that does make a difference when you calculate FMLA.
Okay. You then reply to her email a few hours later, and I think that's at the top of Lumen 62, correct?
Yes.
And you had referenced a conversation with Ellen. Did that occur after you sent that email up there or before?
If I could just take a moment just to reread this.
Go for it.
Thank you. I actually do not recall if it was before or after, but I do know that we did have a conversation that evening.
Okay. And this email doesn't reference a conversation that you had on the phone?
It does not, but
Okay.
I also don't know when the conversation occurred, like before or after. Or
Sure, I understand. I'm just for the record making that clear. Okay, so you don't reference Miss Kutz's request for FMLA leave here, correct?
In this response, no, I do not.
Okay, so in your call with her that evening, did you talk about FMLA leave?
I don't believe we specifically, oh, this is based on my recollection. I don't believe we specifically talked about FMLA. We talked about the policies and why she was receiving the email and the documentation that was needed for medical necessity to be off of work. And more specifically, the conversation or the voicemail she had left for her principal stating she couldn't, submit to medical substantiation. We went through it was when she first reached out to me, she was what I would describe as upset on the phone, like not like angry, but like more emotional. After I went through the process and why we were asking things, she was definitely calmer, understood. The last we left the conversation, and I know you asked specifically about FMLA, but the last we left the conversation was if she could provide me the medical substantiation by email, it would be faster. And she said she would have it faxed to SPI. So that, I mean, that's really the best of my recollection of that conversation.
Okay, and so after that as part of that conversation, was there any discussion of potential accommodations or work restrictions, like, getting her laptop, working from home, anything of that nature?
Not at that time, no.
Okay, and
Well, if let me just, other than the fact that part of the reason what prompted this is because she had indicated she wanted to be able to work, but it wasn't, I guess that's what triggered all of it. Does that make sense to you, or is that helpful?
I think that's fair, and I think that's
Okay.
my understanding as well.
Okay.
Okay, so then we now know that Ellen sent you a letter from her doctor the next day, but we also know that you're saying you didn't get it till later on, correct?
It was received in my email, but I did not read it until much later on. Yes.
Got it. And so she sends it out, to the best of her knowledge, on July 30th. Does that
Yes.
sound right?
Mhm.
Okay. And so then after July 30th, you don't talk to her, correct?
I had not had any, to the best of my recollection, I had not had any further communication with her.
Okay. And so then that's a Friday, I think.
Yes.
And then we've got Monday. That's the day you've said she has to report to work here on the email.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
and do you talk to her on Monday, August 2nd?
I did not.
Did you reach out to her in any way?
I don't recall if I did or didn't, but I would say I did not.
Okay. Then how about that next day, August 3rd?
No, I do not believe I did.
Okay. And obviously we know August 4th you do reach out to her. And we'll get there. But looking backwards now, we're sitting on August 3rd. You had mentioned earlier that some financial issues were sort of coming to light during Ellen's leave. And I'm wondering when those were coming to light.
So this is going off of my recollection without looking back at my notes or anything. I'm not, it's coming around the same time. I just don't know exactly when I was made aware of them. If I had to like tell you like what I believe happened is I think I was made aware of them once I brought up the questions we had regarding the credit card in the afternoon of August 4th. I don't know if I was aware of them prior to that or not, or I don't recall if I was aware of that prior to that or not.
So and let me just make sure I'm understanding this. You have no memory of learning of any of these issues prior to learning of the credit card. That's the first like financial misdeed you're learning about Ellen.
That would be my recollection, yes.
Okay. So then we're gonna go in this binder.
Okay.
Which one's this binder?
Sorry, you're right. I'm looking at Complainants Exhibit 22, page 301. And this is a new one. And it's also, it goes on to 302.
Okay, so I need to make more room on my account because the binder's falling apart. So just give me one moment, please.
No worries. What number are we on currently?
This will be 36. Just to clarify, is this an August 4th, 2021 letter?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, 36, right?
This is going to be
36,
36.
yeah.
Sorry, I just needed to make some room. Okay, yes, August 4th.
All right. Yeah, this is an August 4th letter to Ellen, correct?
Yes.
And did you write this letter?
Yes.
And when did you write this letter?
Either August 3rd or August 4th. Sometime between August 3rd and August 4th.
Okay. And prior to writing this letter, you didn't reach out to Ellen and say, hey, we didn't get that documentation that you promised when we talked on the phone or anything of that nature, correct?
I did not. To the best of my knowledge, I did not.
Understood.
Okay.
So this letter here says that Ellen's personal effects have been sent to the Lumen Network office.
Yes.
When did that happen?
Likely. Okay, I'm sorry. Can you? I think I know.
I'm looking at the second last paragraph on page 301.
301. Okay. I believe it was that morning that they were being sent there.
The morning of the 4th.
Yes.
And did you bring this to Ellen's house?
No, I did not.
Wait, I believe that was ambiguous. The personal effects or the letter?
Sorry, I did mean the letter.
Oh, the letter. Yeah, I did bring the letter to her house. I did not bring the personal effects to her house.
Did you give this letter to Ellen?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you tell Ellen that she was considered, that her employment had ended as far as Lumen was concerned as of July 19th, 2021?
Yes, I did. When I visited her at her home.
Okay. And you later learned, though, indeed she had provided medical substantiation, correct?
When I arrived at home, pretty close to immediately, I did learn that, yes.
Got it. And so were her personal effects like sent back to SPI?
No, they were not.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, I apologize. If I can clarify, like, are you asking when they would have been sent back, or were they sent back as soon
If
as
they
I
were.
learned?
once you learned, or any time after that? I understand they ended up at the Lumen office. They were at the Lumen office as of the 3rd or 4th. Did they go back to the SPI and then come back to Lumen during that, I guess, any time?
This is going to the best of my recollection. I do not believe so, but it was due to the subsequent events that followed from the conversation of she did not abandon her job. We do recognize that, and that was an error on my part. I want you to understand that.
I think the question was whether the personal effects were sent back to SPI, and I don't know that we got an answer to that. Is that
No.
a yes or no?
I do not believe they were.
Next question.
Understood. Do you see in this letter any reference to any financial mismanagement or any reason for, I guess, Ellen's employment at Lumen ending other than her failure to provide medical substantiation?
At that time, no, but we didn't have a question at that moment in time regarding the financial improprieties.
Understood.
Or at
And
least I did not. I would say I did not.
so you meet with Ellen at her home on August 4th.
Yes.
And is that your standard practice if an employee is out on leave?
Not on leave, it would be my standard practice if I'm going to deliver a letter of termination, resignation, job abandonment. That would be my standard practice on that one. But it wasn't, the concern there wasn't about the leave, it was about the job abandonment.
Okay. And I think we have marked this one as well. So I apologize again. Lumen 146 in Complainants Exhibit 22. Let me know when you're there.
It's going to take me just a moment. I'm sorry.
I don't know that this has been marked as an exhibit. Lumen 146.
Oh, then I'd like it as 37.
Is it? I'm not sure about this. Is it Exhibit 5? I have a scribble on
Let's take a look. Obviously, we've got a lot of exhibits so far, but I don't remember seeing it. But oh, okay, yeah, it's in a little different format, but it looks like it is. That is Exhibit 5. I guess maybe the font is different, or
what happened is 146 is from a Lumen printer, and Exhibit 5 is from Ms. Kutz's printer, so they formatted differently.
okay.
Was it with EK?
Yeah.
Stamp? Okay. Let me just, I guess let's look at this one. If we all agree they have the same content.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I do want to apologize. My dog, he will stop in just a moment.
It's okay.
Don't worry, I can barely hear him. Is it interrupting your focus?
Well, if you guys can't hear him, then I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries. So you're looking at Lumen 146 or the Ellen's version of this same email?
It's an email that says, "Hello, Stacy, Pastor, Carrie, and Robin."
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
And you received this email, correct?
Yes.
Now, in this email, Ellen summarizes some of the content of what happened during your meeting earlier that day. Can you confirm that her summary in here is accurate, or is there any part you disagree with?
Could I just take a moment just to
Absolutely.
read it? Okay, thank you. Okay, and I apologize. Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, so part of this email summarizes generally what's happened, and that is what it is. But part of this email summarizes what you and Ellen talked about. And I'm wondering that day, and I'm wondering to what extent your recollection of the events of that day differ from the events of that day as reported by Ellen on August 4th.
So my account wouldn't have been exactly the same as hers, but I can tell you her interpretation does make sense to me. So I wouldn't disagree with it. It's just my account would have been slightly different.
Got it. So in general, you could see how all the things in here are the understanding that she came to. Is that kind of a fair paraphrase?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. And at Ellen's house, she told you that she had been permitted to use the Spark card as a personal credit card after July 1. Is that correct?
Yes, she did state that.
And she said that she had a conversation with Stacy about that.
Yes,
Correct?
she did state that, yes.
Okay. Did you talk to Stacy about that?
Not at that moment in time, no.
I understand you didn't call her up right there in the
No.
meeting.
I did later when I returned to work, yes.
Later on August 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Sorry, what?
The answer was mm-hmm. I would just.
Oh, sorry. It was my was yes. Sorry.
Understood. Okay, so you have a conversation with Stacy on August 4th, sometime after that meeting with Ellen. What is said?
So there were several conversations, and I don't have like specific documentation in front of me, but there were, the first thing was to look up the credit card statement just to see if, what she had shared with me was accurate, which it was, that she had personal charges on there. The other part was to follow up with her to follow up with Stacey to ask her if that was truly accurate, that she allowed her to, purchase things or turn that over to be from the SPI credit card to the personal credit card. During that same conversation is when I learned that Miss Kutz had already been to SPI and picked up medication and drove herself there. So it was just basically her recollection of what was going on and what the authorization of the credit card could be or should be.
You learned that Ellen had gone to SPI that day after meeting with you from Stacy?
That is correct, yes.
And do you have any firsthand knowledge of that, or is that all through Stacy?
It is all through Stacy or Miss Doherty, Principal Doherty. Sorry.
Sorry.
I have a hard time calling her Stacy just because she's a principal. So, but yes.
Understood. So now, was she there that day?
Yes.
She. I'm sorry, objection ambiguous.
Sorry. Was Stacy at school that day?
Yes.
Now, okay. As of, sorry, let me think about how to ask this. Lumen as an entity was never associated with the Spark card, correct?
That would likely be a better question to be asked of Renata Holgard, our VP, Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. And the reason why I say that is because the 12 months prior, we were managing St. Peter Emmanuel school. We officially took it over July 1st of 2021. What the responsibility of Lumen versus SPI was prior to that, I can't speak to the specifics of it.
Okay. You never saw a credit card with the word Lumen on it or anything like that, right?
Objection, vague.
No, it's not vague. What's your answer, Ms. Brust?
Can you repeat the question again? I didn't quite hear the question to begin with.
You never saw a copy of the Spark business card with the word Lumen on it or anything like that, right?
No, I saw the statement that had Lumen on it, but I did not see. Well, actually, let me take that back. I'm going to go with, I believe not, but for some reason, I feel like I recall a statement with Lumen's name on it. And I can't speak to that specifically.
Give me 1 second here.
I'm going to walk away for just 1 quick second. I need to put my lunch in the fridge, but it's right here.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I think this has already been marked, but I'm looking at respondents exhibit 11, page Lumen 418 through 421. I think it was just recently marked. This statement.
Okay, okay, I need to get a different vendor. I'm sorry, respondents exhibit 11, what was the number?
So the page numbers are 418 through 420.
Okay, I think I'm in the wrong binder. Okay, got it. Sorry, I was in the wrong binder. I apologize. It's marked exhibit 5.
Oh,
Yep.
On exhibit 11,
Deposition
exhibit
exhibit
5.
5. Yes.
Okay, all right, yes.
All right. And this is the statement. Is this the statement you were looking at on August 4th? I understand this is a printed copy. It may have came later, but
I would say yes, it was whatever was brought up from our finance department. And I'm not trying to be evasive. I would likely say yes, I would agree to that. I just can't say that absolutely for sure because I don't process billing statements, but it was whatever they brought up and showed me.
Was this marked as a trial exhibit or not?
I believe it's 31.
Okay.
Oh, okay, wait, hold on a second. So this is the one with the past due fees and the,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
you talked about, the first page essentially being a summary of your investigation or something of that nature.
yeah, this would be the one, yes.
Okay. And is there anything on this statement, looking at the 3 pages, that indicate that Lumen is involved with this?
Okay, as I'm looking at it right now, I would say no, other than the fact that it was submitted to Lumen to have payment be made on behalf of like the school expenses.
And do you think Ellen submitted it?
So this, let me just give you, so prior to this, the statements would have been submitted by Ellen. This statement happened, or like occurred when she was on leave. The reason why this statement was pulled up was because she had indicated there may or may not have been charges for her vacation on the account. And she was also still on leave at that time. So this specific statement wouldn't have been submitted by Ellen, but the other ones would have been, the previous ones would have been. Does that make sense or answer your question?
Yeah, and the previous statements didn't have any unreported personal charges from Ellen, correct?
There were some that did, but there were some that did, but they were prior to my working for Lumen at the time.
Okay, I understand that at some point Ellen had accidentally charged on the Lumen card and they sorted that out. Is your understanding different than that?
Um, I mean, there's nothing but respectfully is, it just wasn't something that involved me at the time. So I don't really know what my understanding is. I can speak to the transactions that I was a part of or the meetings and things like that I was a part of, but I can't speak to things that I was not.
Okay,
I'm not trying to
you can say
be,
you don't know the answer.
that would be correct. I don't know the answer.
All right. Then all of Ellen's charges on this card come after July 1, 2021, correct?
On the specific statement, yes.
And this is the only statement that's, I guess, been discussed in this case, correct? It seems like you're now bringing up something that we haven't talked about
Yeah,
at
no,
any
I mean,
point.
no,
And
no.
so we can find me a different statement. There's a
No,
problem.
I don't mean that. So I know there were things prior to that I just don't have like the best knowledge of, but there were things and nothing that was like something that I would say no, it wasn't anything that fed into the situation that we're working with now. To the best of my knowledge, yes, this was the only statement. There was one other that was in question. I cannot speak to the resolution of what that was though. And it was the one right before this. I can't recall it. And I believe it was something that we weren't ever able to conclude, so we just left it alone.
There's like a $60 Amazon charge. Ellen says she didn't make it, and
Yeah, it was
Got it.
something like that. Like we just didn't know. So,
understood.
okay, thank you.
Now, it looks like there's a page missing of this document. The first page of the statement is page 2 of 3. Do you agree with that?
Um, yeah, I would agree with that. I believe that is the summary. Well, no, the summary is the third page, isn't it? Yeah, this was the second page is the one that showed the detail of what we were concerned about. As far as what the first page is, I'm not part of the financial office that would.
You know what? The
Really
question
understand.
was, we're missing a page, okay? It
Okay,
starts at page
yes,
2 of
right.
3, okay? And the answer is yes, we're missing a page. What's the next question?
The physical credit card says SPI on it, or St. Peter Emmanuel Church, correct?
Do you have an exhibit that shows that, where I can confirm that?
Yeah, I think if you turn to the very last page of complainant's binder,
Oh,
I think it's a different exhibit, but it says St. Peter Emmanuel on it. I think that's the card that we're talking about, but I just want to confirm it.
without seeing, I don't see the exhibit without seeing it, I would agree with you.
Okay. Let's turn to my binder, Exhibit 22, pages 153, 154. Let me know when you're there. I believe this will be trial exhibit 37 or 38.
It will be 37.
Okay, yes, I'm there.
Okay. Did you receive these emails? It looks like there is one from August 3rd and then one from August 11th.
Yes.
Apologies, Council. Just I don't mean to interrupt. Give me the dates quick. I fell behind.
153, 154.
Thank you. Go ahead.
All right. So my understanding of these emails is they are both from Renee to
Renata.
Stacy Pastor, Renata, sorry.
It's okay.
To Stacy, Pastor, Sean, and you.
Yes, correct.
And that there are sort of an email from August 3rd about some accounts, and then an update on August 11 about those accounts.
Yes.
And do you see at the bottom of 153 where it talks about credit card?
Yes,
Is that the credit card we're talking about here?
I believe so, yes.
You have no reason to believe anything else?
No. It just doesn't say Capital One Sparks card, but I believe that is the same card that we're talking about.
Well, if you look at that second last paragraph, it says Ellen and Albert's son have a credit card through Capital One.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that
Yes.
it does say Capital One. Okay.
Mhm.
Turn to page 145. It should just be one page prior to what you're looking at.
Is this the Ascension doctor's note?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yes.
So you first see this at Ellen's apartment?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And so you understand that Ellen is excused from work medically from July 30th for 2 weeks.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And then either the 4th or the 5th, and I know there's some confusion or dispute there, I don't think it matters. You tell Ellen she needs to come to the office, the Lumen office on the 6th, correct?
Yes.
And you don't mention when you're telling her that she needs to come to the Lumen office that she has provided you a doctor's note and asked for medical leave, correct?
I believe that is correct.
Okay. And so you tell her she has to report to the Lumen office, correct?
No, not correct.
You told her that she could, but it was her choice?
I believe, without looking back at all my notes, I believe what I said to her is we would like to meet with you like on this date at this time at the Lumen office. Kind of like, please let me know if that's okay. Her response was, and the reason for that was because at the last meeting on August 4th, she had stated to me like she can meet or talk or anytime or collaborate. And then she said she could do it if she's feeling up to it the morning. And I said, okay, I'll expect to see you unless I hear otherwise. The morning of, she said she was running a little bit late, but she'd be there. And I said, no problem, sent her a little smiley face. And that's the best of my recollection of the communication.
Got it. And so you had prepared a separation agreement for her to present that to her at that meeting. And let me clarify. You had a separation agreement for her to sign at that meeting, correct?
Yes, correct.
I understand you personally did not necessarily prepare it, and I don't care who prepared it because that's privileged. So you testified earlier that her employment with Lumen was ending that day. Is that accurate?
Okay, I don't recall testifying earlier that her employment was ending that day.
So if she had not accepted that severance offer, would she be able to return to work at the end of her leave?
Calls for speculation. Objection.
I think it's a fair question, Ms. Brust.
Well, I agree. It's speculation because if she didn't accept the separation agreement, I really do not know what we would have done next to proceed. We would have had to have a continued conversation about the concerns we had and her continued employment.
Okay, so after she revokes it, you tell her that she cannot keep working at SPI and instead needs to report to the Lumen office for a different job. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
Not correct.
How is it incorrect?
I didn't tell her she needed to report to the network office for a different office or a different job. I told her that, this is your expected return to work date based on your medical documentation. Unless we hear otherwise, this is the expectation that you report to work, and that your report to work is at the network office at this time. And that is when we were going to meet with her.
Got it.
It
And you
wasn't about reassigning her. She was never told she was being reassigned.
Okay. Was she told that she would no longer be working at SPI?
No,
You don't remember saying anything to that effect?
I do not remember saying anything to that effect.
Do you remember hearing anyone say anything to that effect to her?
No, I do not.
Okay. And you testified earlier the job that was available for her was Sean's executive assistant position. Is that correct?
Yeah, we had that was an available position at the time.
Sure, but I think you went one step further and said basically that would be her job if we could sort it out. Is that correct?
It was one or the other. Like either we could agree on like what we need, meeting the expectations of a Lumen employee. And if that was agreeable after the meeting, then yes, that would have been the assignment that she would have been given because it was not financially related. Again, going to the public trust and, everything you've already heard. Or if it wasn't agreeable or amenable to meeting our expectations and core values and mission and vision, then we would have had a conversation about a separation of employment.
All right.